Good afternoon, everyone. So yeah, I'm going to take you through a couple of examples of experiments from our perspective. So just to give you a bit of a background on Musgrave, I understand it'd be a brand you would not be aware of for the most part. We are food and beverage business, but mainly a grocery wholesaler, and this is just an example of some of our brands. So we would have brands like SuperValu, one of the largest kind of retail operations in Ireland. Centra would be the largest convenience retailer. Lots of other brands in that space. I'm focused on the wholesale food service and some of the retail business, and that's the example I'm going to take you through. Some of the other brands here. So we're going to talk about Musgrave Marketplace today. That is our wholesale brand. I'm going to talk about digital for Marketplace and the experiments that we're doing there to kind of, as Aaron said, deliver some of the strategies that we've set out previously and how we're using AI to start to move that along now. We have a couple of other brands in the food service space. So Larousse in the fine foods in Ireland, and then Ritter and Town and Country are both based in the UK. So similar to what Eric was saying there, we are doing things on certain brands and experimenting with them and then hoping to roll them out and share them and copy and paste them to where they'll work in other brands. So just to give you an idea then about Musgrave Marketplace, which is the brand we're going to talk about. So this is where we are at the moment. So Musgrave is 150-year-old almost. It's 148 years, I think it is, specifically, family business. So it is a traditional business. It's been around a long time. It's very large on the island of Ireland. And we're on a journey towards digital transformation, and we have done a lot, and we've come a long way. And like the examples I'll show you here will show some of that, but we've some way to go as well. But just as the idea of scale and what digital is for us, so we at the moment in our wholesale division are 65% digital. We're counting our EDI and kind of automatic integrations within that as well. When we move a customer to digital, and this is really where our experiments come in and the kind of metrics that we track at a customer level, we see an uplift in those customers of around 4%. So if we have somebody placing orders through the traditional channels and then we move them across to order through digital, we see on average an uplift of 4%. But that doesn't really tell the whole story, because similar as well to something Eric mentioned there beforehand, we'll see very different numbers for very different customers. Some of them will jump massively, some of them won't move at all, and it kind of levels out at 4%. So there's different expectations of different customers. And similar again, we would have some huge customers that, the example of a hospital and a dentist, all of those will order through our site. We'll have customers managing hundreds of stores, and their whole brand through our site, and then we'll have much smaller single stores managed through it. We've delivered about 7 million incremental through personalization. Now, it's a difficult thing to track and to attribute exactly, but what we can see in the experiments that we've done and the uplift that we've seen, and I'll take you through some of the examples of what difference that kind of makes. So one of the things to call out, which is kind of the strategy that we've set out beforehand, it's kind of already been mentioned as well, is around our marketplace, what we call extended range. So we have a set of core products, but then we also have a marketplace, so a B2B marketplace powered by Miracle, which a lot of you will be aware of, running on Intershop. So what we're doing there is obviously marketplace model, shipping directly from suppliers to these customers. So we're at the early days of that, but we've around 7,000 products in that marketplace. And I suppose that is part of our drive towards these experiments and how we integrate that range into our product recommendations, and how we it kind of stuck with me as well what the last presenter was saying about how we confirm things that we think we know and if they're right or wrong. So we have a couple of examples of things that we've attempted to do that we were very sure would work in a particular way, and just by experimenting and trying them, they've actually come out quite differently. So we are working with Algonomy as our recommendation engine, and this is the kind of example I'm going to jump into just to give you a bit of detail. We're doing experiments in other places, but I think this is a kind of a good one to share, which is just experiments around product recommendations. So through Algonomy, we are tracking some key data points. This isn't all of them, but it kind of gives you an idea. We're tracking items people have purchased, the quantity they purchased them in, the frequency and the dates, customer segments, which we've manually assigned and divided them up, but then also a customer segment based purely on behavior. So we're dividing customers up to say, you're a hotel and this is a pub or whatever, But then we're also assigning customers to segments that are based purely on their behavior. And that's the AI element of this and where it comes into Algonomy. So we don't interact with those segments. They're kind of built based on rules set beforehand, and it groups the customers together on 150 different kind of variants of when they buy stuff, you know, down to the time of day or that kind of stuff. And I've had a look through the segments to kind of figure out, you know, what makes all these customers relatable to each other. And it's not always obvious, but you'll see kind of from the experiments that makes a difference. And then we have a number of placements across our site of where we can use these data points to trigger a product recommendation. So in anywhere we have content that we control, and then places like the search results on the basket, checkout, in a couple of different places. So what it looks like is kind of your straightforward or standard product carousel. So it doesn't look anything, you know, special or different, and it will pull in these headlines or headers are automatically generated as well. So it looks like kind of content controlled. It'll say things like customers like you have bought, or these are recently viewed items, or these are items related to your search, or hot sellers. There's a couple of other ones that we use as well. Things like, yeah, you know, customers like you have bought, I suppose, is the main or the easiest one to explain. So there's no kind of human intervention in these. The rules are set up, they run behind the scenes. And then what we're doing in from an experimentation or an experiment perspective is swapping these out and trying to test which variants work better. So the kind of the examples to show you, or what I can take you through, is when we created this tool and we were doing recommendations, we really wanted to get to be able to prompt customers with a replenishment journey, which is when we predict that you have run out of something, that we will say, and ideally the North Star eventually to get to a place where we just automatically send the products. But at the moment, what we're trying to do is say, you order toilet roll from us every 6 weeks. It's now been 5.5 weeks, and we predict that you will be looking for this. And that was kind of where we wanted to get to, and we wanted to be able to do that. So once we have the capability to do that, we then experimented with it. So we put that on the homepage in front of a subset of customers, but we A/B tested it essentially between two variations. So we showed we had a control group of customers, then we showed some customers a replenishment journey, which is, you know, you've ordered this every 6 weeks, we think you're going to need it again. And then we showed another group of customers discovery products, which is products that are based on, you know, people like you are buying this, or customers who buy other products that you buy are buying this, but you don't buy them. So completely new products. We were very confident that replenishment would be the big thing for our customers, that, you know, we work very closely with customers. A lot of them have contract pricing, they order frequently. We were very confident that if we were just making a choice, that's what we would do. The difference between the what was added to basket for those customers and like the lifetime value of the customers that we would track was less than 1%. It made practically no difference whether we showed them a replenishment journey or whether we showed them a discovery journey. So that was completely different to what we expected. We would have just gone out and shown them the replenishment one and assumed we were doing the right thing. And I kind of come back to that in a second because we've tweaked it slightly. What we've done with discovery as well then is we're showing customers new products that they don't buy based on the segment that they're in. And then we took another group of customers and showed them new products that they don't buy based on customers who just buy similar products to them. So not that they're both hotels or that they're both pubs. They just seem to buy products that overlap and we don't really understand why. And the difference between those two. So the discovery test we ran there, where we were recommending products based on the other products that people buy, there was a 7% difference as opposed to no difference essentially for the first one, if that makes sense. So again, we wouldn't have predicted that, and it made a big difference. And the last one then, and this is the final slide as well, the last one then was just to go back to replenishment and discovery. So the first one I kind of explained to you, we saw no difference. We were looking at it at a really high level, and we looked at all the customers in our test, and we looked at it at a top level to say we didn't make any more money basically from either of those things that we put forward. When we dug into it and kind of reran it in a slightly different way, what we realized was some of our, you know, at a fully personalized level, there was a completely different reaction from particular customers. So some customers, it had absolutely no impact. But for other customers, and it was a kind of general split between our retail and our food service customers. So what we've discovered from this testing is that our retail customers react to replenishment and they want to reorder and order at a set time and then be told you're about to run out of this. Whereas our food service customers are very concerned with what other food service customers are ordering that they might not be. So what we're able to do now is then run both strategies concurrently, but to divide them then by content into which customers we show them. So replenishment is very successful for a certain percentage of our customers, and discovery is very successful for another segment of the customers. But our original test in that phase, if we just had looked at it at the overall level, it looked like it was very kind of static for everyone. So yeah, that's my last slide. It's just going to give you an example of some of the things we're using this for, and how AI is driving some of these things for us.